Thank you so much for staying with us on Tea or Coffee. If you just joined us, you're right in time because we're about to walk into a conversation that, of course, we've been having all morning, but this time around, it's not Adi and I, it's my guest and I. But before we delve into that, you can quickly follow us on social media at High Impact TV and at High Impact TV UK. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell so you get a notification every single time we post a new video. You can also watch us on the go. If you're about to leave the house and you're wondering, oh, I don't want to miss this conversation, just download the Avo TV app on any of the app store, either Android or iPhone, and you can get to watch High Impact TV on the go. Okay, I have with me in the studio today Bayode. So before I bring on Bayode, okay, there's something about him that strikes me. When he came in here, it looked like, or I felt like, okay, maybe this is somebody who does banking and all of that, only for me to find out that professionally he's a radiographer. But by virtue of his interest and the things that he loves to do, he's actually an idea strategist, and he's joining me today to talk about generating good ideas. Welcome to Tea or Coffee.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm really excited, really, to be here and to have conversations like this because, you know, it's pretty much like what I've always wanted to do.
Okay. I see here that you're an idea consultant and a strategist as well as a creative innovator. So my first challenge to you is to explain to me how all of these three things come together to form the core of who you are.
Okay, so pretty much me is, yes, so by virtue of first degree, I got into the medical space, right? So as a medical professional in the radiology department. And, you know, after a while, I got to utilize a lot of my potentials in school. Like in school, I was hardly in class. I was always going out there, wanting to do a campaign. Okay, cancer awareness. So this is it. So if you look at idea in itself, idea is not something that you stumble onto. It's who you are. You just have to be somebody that do not just resonate. You don't just resonate with the normal. Think the stereotypical don't just go with you. So going to class, I felt it wasn't a milestone anymore. I got into school already. I wrote JAM. It wasn't a milestone anymore. I was there already. With or without my stay in school, I was going to pass. I was going to graduate regardless. Most of us actually graduated with our peers that we felt are not really so brilliant, but we all graduated together, meaning that it wasn't really a milestone. So in school, I was all over the place, going from one company to the other, trekking the whole of Lagos, submitting proposals to, you know, run a campaign. So I did a series of campaigns with my team. I mean, I had a couple of friends, you know, I've told my friends that we were on the same journey together, Ridwan and Marvelous, right? So we were all over the streets. Okay, let's get this done. Stage, DJ, you know, get shirts, look for sponsors to give us shirts, to get drinks, to move people for a campaign. So we did cancer campaign, we did racing, RACING, that's Race Against Cancer in Nigeria. I mean, so we did a lot of that, and the question was, so who are you guys? Like, well, you guys are meant to be like in school. It was so bad that our lecturers got to understand us, and then when we go out, and then we come in late to class, they were like, oh, okay, they're back. Okay, you guys can welcome and have your seat. So it was that bad. It was so obvious.
More like it was that good.
It was that good. Yeah, it was because it was so awesome for us, and it was very interesting. However, it was challenging, but it was something that we wanted to do outside of the normal, and that's where you find the difference between people who are stereotypical and those who seek to be innovators, is that you thrive more in the processes, in the
ideation
this is laid out principles. This is how it should be done, and then some are just disruptors. We want to disrupt that space, that simple chain. Let's disrupt it. It can be better. It can either be shorter or be faster.
Okay. Now I see that you are particular about idea actualization,
yes,
especially when it comes to the Nigerian space,
yes,
and how how you are able to actualize ideas given 21st century tools that we have available to us now, but also very particular about the Nigerian space. And based on that, I want to start by asking you what your perspective of idea generation is.
Okay, so looking at the human spirit, the benefit of the human spirit is the ability of the human spirit to look into the system and be able to identify options that present to you and be able to pick one as a matter of supreme urgency. And that is where idea generation comes to bear. Now, for instance, if I look at ahead of High Impact TV, I saw High Impact TV, I think last 2 months or thereabout, and then the way we look at High Impact TV is different. If I hear about High Impact TV, another person hears about High Impact TV, another person hears about High Impact TV. The perspective of how we will perceive High Impact TV will be different.
Across board, yes.
What makes it different is the fact that I might like High Impact TV from the point of I just love their show and I just want to be on the watching end. Another person can be on the side of I want to appear on High Impact TV as a guest. Another person will come up with the concept of I want to hone a like High Impact TV. Now, if you look at that, that is different idea generation processes. This person is just normal. Let me just be watching their show. This person is on the other end. Let me be a guest
part of the show.
Be a part of the show. This other person. So if you look at it, the way we see things and our exposure to things, we see a lot of companies out there, but we see it differently. Some people see it and say, how can I do this? How does this resonate with me sympathetically that speaks to my vision and my purpose in life? And at that point is where the idea generation begins. The point where you are able to perceive a thing and be able to connect it with that which is called purpose for you. So looking at it generally, so that's why. So if you look at me now, I look at everything as how can this be a change mechanism? Sorry, I don't know if I'm talking too much or preempting other questions, but looking at the scope of Nigeria, as it were, we are basically on the receiving end of everything. The cameras here, the TVs here, everything, we are on the receiving end of the user.
What do you mean receiving end?
So we are on the user level.
Okay.
We are on the user level. We do not perceive how we can be contributors to this thing that serve
the
as
creator level. Okay.
Do you get my point?
Get what you're pointing.
And everything. ShopRite is here. Everywhere.
So before we proceed,
Okay.
I'd like to quickly chip it in that
Okay.
we try our best not to mention brands.
Oops.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Please go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So there are a lot of companies here, international companies here, that offer premium values to us, right? Now, but we as Nigerians actually see these values on the user end. At what point do we want to contribute to our own GDP? And this is where we need to now begin to change our mindset to being a creator mindset to add value to the global space. So we need to now position and sit ourselves to be change agents. Okay, brands cannot be identified, but the chats, the social media pages that we use today, these are ideas that came to some people years ago. It means that there was a mindset in their head that they want to create something that is going to resonate around the globe. It's going to resonate around the globe. And how do we do this? Now, it is first a mindset. The truth is that when the mindset is actualized, your process in life will go in line with it. That's how it is wired. We are wired in a way that we went to school to be equipped enough to get a job, right? And all of our journey in life is tailored towards finishing school, looking for a job, get a job, move through the ladder and die. That's it. Why? Because it is a mindset. We've been fed with it. That's the education that we're given, right? And that idea has been given to us such that even your way of life, the things that your mind, your human spirit mindset is going to hurt for or long for will be something in that mindset. Now, for me, that is on the let's do something global. The stereotypical would not really mean so much to me. A radiology is not going to mean so much to me. But what's going to mean so much to me in the radiology is how I can be part of the global change in the radiology space.
Okay.
And beyond.
So, Bayode, is some people, there's a school of thought that says that there is a difference between a good idea and a bad idea. What's your take on that?
So I don't think it's any bad idea.
Okay.
Right, but
I think I have my answer. The reason why I did that was to you was that more often than not we tend to chuck down ideas that don't particularly look feasible in that time space, and so it's a bad idea.
Okay.
But we all forget that there really isn't any bad idea. It may not work in that time space, but how about we start seeing it as you got this idea because you need to start working on it for a future purpose. You know. So that was why I asked that question. So now let's go back to generating ideas.
Good.
You've stylishly mentioned why it is important to generate ideas, because you can't just be at the user end, the consumer level, and not think about how to actually be the one generating solutions for other people. So I guess I'm going to skip that question for you.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the techniques involved in generating ideas. Earlier on, before you joined us on the show today, we have mentioned things that we think, tips that we think can help people, such as meditating, getting out of their own way, reading books, expanding their circle of friends, and all of that. But I know that when it boils down to the real work, you know, there are techniques involved. Would you like to share those ones with us?
Okay, so I'm going to give you one, right? And then let's go design thinking. Okay. So there's something called design thinking in the idea space, right? So design thinking is as I defined earlier, that it's an ability for you to be able to look into your realities and identify the options that present to you, and then you'll be able to pick one. Right, or pick something that resonates with your values, right? So design thinking basically is just an approach. It's a systematic approach towards generating an idea or generating a design, right? It's what's used in the tech space. It's what is used in the, in the global market, basically the global space, right? And design thinking has its different steps. Right? It has its different steps. Number one is problem identification. Right? Now, you need to understand that for you to create an idea in the first place, there needs to be a problem. Right? Now, but the way we perceive problem is different. And that's the real core of just being a mediocre.
That's a problem on its own?
That is the yes.
So maybe we should identify that as a problem and come up with an idea.
I know, right? It's a problem. The problem there is the ability for you to feel like this life, we should just do it as it is. It's not as it is. If you do life as it is, you receive anything that you get.
Permit me to drag you back to design thinking. The first thing in design thinking is problem identification.
Yes.
How? Now, you were saying something about the mindset. Is there a way that problems are meant to be perceived that we don't normally do?
Yes, so now we're different. We're different human beings, right? Some people are, so looking at, I don't know if you've heard of this DISC analysis. For as a human, the so-called DISC analysis, DISC, dominant, influence, supportive, and collective. These are different human beings, right? Some people are just dominant. They want to be at the forefront of things. They want to do things. They want to be the one in charge, right? You find them as the managers or the bosses. Like there are some people that are called influence people. These people are influence. These people influence things. When they arrive in a thing, they might not want to really delegate the task to you, but if they delegate the task to you, you find them doing it too. Like they want to influence everybody. There's collective people. These are people that are more reserved, but they pay key details to things. There's also the supportive people who are just better supporters. Like they will thrive really well being a co-founder or supporting you to grow, right, as a business. Now, looking at these human beings, the way we would perceive problems will be different, right? Some would never perceive the problem to be the creator. Some will perceive the problem to be the support system to the solution bringer, right? So that will be fair on people that are just really calm to not being creative about ideas, right? But the key point is that you need to always be able to look for ways to solve problems, because that is the core of your existence. You cannot just be on earth for no reason. It's not possible.
So how exactly
Okay.
do you need, or how exactly do you identify problems? We have established that we're all different people. We have different mindsets. We have different temperaments. We have different, the way we are built, the way we are wired differs from each other. But we are all in it. So I see it as we're all in society. I see it as a team.
Yeah.
We're all working together to solve our problems.
Great.
But if one person can identify something that is a problem and other people don't even see it as a problem, so what exactly are the things you need to do to actually properly identify the problem?
Okay, so it boils down to your vision, to you as an individual, right? We all have different goals. We all have different purpose. So it boils down to your purpose, right? Why are you here? Right. So if I'm able to identify why you are here, for instance, now I stumbled into radiology, right? Now I'm in radiology, right? Now for me to resonate and be relevant in radiology, right? I need to be at the level of solution bringer, and not just this was what the book says and this is how we'll go. Everybody will do that. But what differentiates you and makes you relevant is your ability to identify problems in the radiology space and be able to attack the problem. Now, let's go deep into how you identify the problems. For instance, there's a problem in the so I don't know if you mind me going specific to my space.
Yeah, well, that's what works for you. Please go ahead.
Yes. So that, I'm saying it's more personal now, right? Now, in the radiology space, there is a problem with in the radiology space we have the radiographers, two key players, radiographers, and we have the radiologists, right? Radiologists are medical doctors trained to be able to report an image. Radiographers, on the other end, are professionals trained to use radiation to acquire internal structures of the body, right? Now, these two key players are different entities by virtue of training, right? Now, the radiographer acquires image, the radiologist reports the image. Now, in this system, identifying problems in this system now brings me as an innovator. So now I come out of the key players, of these two key players, and become an innovator. So both of them, so don't forget that I am one of them, right? As a milestone. But the better milestone is that I am out now identifying problems. How? Okay, the radiologists on the other end are probably more busy with doing other studies like interventional studies, HSG and all that. Reporting can be done virtually. The radiologist doesn't need to sit in there to report. It can be done virtually. So what would we need to do? Let's create a social platform, or a teleradiology platform where these radiographers that acquire the image can push that image to the system, and it can be reported anywhere in the world. So the radiologists do not need to come in to sit. It saves the hospital the cost of hiring a radiologist. It saves the patient the time that it takes for us to wait for a radiologist to come to the space, to the hospital to report. Can you see that?
Give me a second. I'm walking through this with you.
Okay.
How does it even save the hospital the cost of hiring a radiologist? They'll still pay for that service, wouldn't they?
They'll pay for the service, but
not the running cost.
Yes.
Now I get you. Please go ahead.
So for you to see the radiologist, you probably need a million naira or more, right? And you might not even do as much reports to pay that radiologist, right? Now, so looking at that solution in itself is you as a person being in the space, but as a solution bringer. Here, come, bring it home, right? You are here as a host, right? But much more, being a host is already a milestone for you. Tomorrow you have proven track record of hosting several shows here and has been a success. So it's no longer a milestone, right? It means that tomorrow when you come here, you will bring your A game and ace it, right? But what makes you different is not just being a host, because you are. That's why you're employed here. But what makes you different is you taking the extra step to finding problems, identifying problems on the show. How can we bring in more shows? How can we go push out? How can we go out? How can we raise the standard of an high impact TV? Guess what? If you're on that end, very soon you will find yourself that you are growing to a level where you can, your human spirit will force you to recreate an high impact.
Okay. So we have mentioned design thinking. First one, identifying the problems.
Yes.
Second one,
empathy. Being on my end user's shoes. That's it, right? I put you in my shoe. I say, okay, for instance, my patients, imagine I go to the radiology department to go and do an X-ray. I get to the X-ray department, X-ray film, great, is gotten. Report, they say, come back tomorrow, come back next tomorrow. The radiologist has not reported, come back next week, come back next 2 weeks. Now, if I put myself in my patient's shoes, I will be forced to create a solution.